welcome in. And this week you'll notice that decided to bin off Jamie. He said he had some throat issue. I wasn't really listening when he said about it. But it's meant I've been able to draft in someone who's a lot younger, better looking, and has more time to look into this stuff than me and Jamie. A guy who is performing as well as Jamie, really, in the competition. Liam, how are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad, thank you. A bit of a King Fantasy Sports takeover right tonight.
That's it. We're not giving it back. We're not giving it back.
Exactly. It's ours now. It's ours.
Yeah, exactly. Unlucky Jamie. How are you doing anyway, generally?
Yeah, so it's my birthday today, so 23 now, so getting old. No, but yeah, it's been a good day. A couple of them with uni work and things like that. So, but yeah, it's been all right. Thank you.
You're saying you're 23 and you're old. I told you before we started recording, my computer is literally like double digits old. It's literally half of your life. I've got a TV over here that is 8 years old. That is unbelievable. And you're saying you're old. Unbelievable. I bet you don't even make a sound yet when you stand up, do you?
Of course, yeah. I'm very, very responsible. 23 years old.
Well, hopefully you this is the start of a wonderful birthday weekend for you.
Yeah, well,
right. Well, let's get into this. I don't really like talking about the league table because
where are you? Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah, just keep scrolling. And the worst bit is, all I really wanted to do was finish ahead of Ben, and he's leapt up. So it's not
Yeah,
going
you
well.
had a nice week, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of frustrating, really. Especially as I reminded him to set a lineup. So there's like a little a double loss.
Yeah, a bit of salt in the wounds.
Lo and behold, you can see Jamie, who does the scoring.
Yeah.
High scorer on the week. I'm not saying it's dodgy, but
well, I am. You know,
Stewart's inquiry.
I mean, exactly. Get VAR out. That's what I say.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. But no, we seems like everyone's kind of buying into it. Some are doing better than others, but we won't really talk about that. So we've been speculating what your username was. So you must be MK Army, which now makes sense because you said before we started recording that Milton Keynes shirts behind you. So I remember when that team was in Wimbledon. That's how old I am. I am.
Yeah, wow.
Unbelievable. 23, saying he's old. But
yeah, I mean, I'm more than happy with fourth in this competition anyway. I said to you before recording, Rich, that I've been taking risks in my lineups and it's just been paying off at the moment. So long way to continue.
Yeah, I mean, what I'll ask you is if you can just start sending me your lineups, and I'll just send the same one.
I mean, literally, I'm posting on Twitter every week. So if you want me to DM you the link to them, I'll let you know.
That'd be perfect. Yeah. I mean, I might just.
All right, brilliant. Yeah.
I'll give him a login. That's easier. Yeah. To be honest. Yeah.
All right, brilliant.
Okay, so let's start digging into the show then. So let's start off with our high price players. So these are guys that are over 6,000, except for Titan and DST, where it's just kind of like subjective because who's spending a lot of money on a tight end? I don't know.
That is not me.
Who's your quarterback this week?
Yes, so quarterback over 6K for me is Kyler Murray, 7,100. He's kind of in the perfect storm this week. He's scored no less than 24 DK points a game this season, and he's going against a Seattle team that are giving up, not only prehistoric numbers to wide receivers, but in turn quarterbacks. And it seems like a good matchup, especially off they're at home, and Seattle are coming off a bye, so maybe a bit sluggish on defense. And it's got a rushing floor, so yeah, it's perfect play for me. And the hope is that he continues to perform well.
Yeah, I mean, that rushing floor is just absolutely beautiful, isn't it? Like every week, he's just got that solid baseline, and this offense seems like it's really wanting to keep the ball moving. So
yeah,
it's pretty beautiful. I mean, who the Cardinals got this weekend? Seattle, right?
Seahawks. Yeah, Seahawks. Yeah.
So he, on Pro Football Reference, you can see how many DK points they've given up on average to the position, which is 28.5. Only slightly better than the Atlanta Falcons, who seem like defense is optional for them, really. So actually, that's a beautiful segue into mine, which is
okay.
Matthew Stafford, 6,500, slightly cheaper. The reason being, it's Atlanta, so how can I not target them? His stats are slightly skewed by the fact that he handed the ball off in the red zone a couple of times last week against Jacksonville. Other than that, he's had a pretty solid season, and this game's just got all the hallmarks of a shootout because both defenses are questionable, to be polite, to
say the least.
Yeah, we'll say questionable. That's nice. That's a nice way of saying it. Let's go into your cheaper quarterback. Who's that?
So the guy I highlighted personally was Joe Burrow, 5.5K on DraftKings, which is too cheap for my opinion. We saw earlier in the season with the game and prime time how I think he threw it ball 61 times against the Browns or Cleveland. And I'm not saying that he's going to throw 61 times this week, but I'm saying that he's not threw it under 30 times this season. So there's always a nice floor there in terms of pass attempts. And with what we've seen regarding the Cleveland defense, they're giving up tons through the air anyway. So there's a nice floor there, in my opinion. And Burrow is going to be a superstar in the making, in my opinion. And I thought it was a nice matchup and a great tournament play, if not cash play, if you need the funds.
Yeah, I think that's good, especially with the news that Mixon's out as well. Like,
yeah,
everyone's going to be on Giovanni Bernard, which I'm sure I'm going to have him in many spots, but they're not going to run the ball as much. Yeah. So that's just going to be more volume for Joe Burrow. This might eventually be a week that AJ Green decides to do something.
I mean, you say that, but he had a 100-yard game almost last week, did he not?
I really want AJ Green to come back at some like filthy 200-yard 4-touchdown game to quell all the haters. But that's
I mean, I'd personally class myself as an AJ Green hater then. So yeah, maybe you can rub that in my face and put him in your lineup.
So mine is going to be a popular streamer I think this week, which is Teddy Bridgewater, facing the New Orleans Saints, 5,800 on DK. We've seen that he is just meh. He just takes what he gets given. So in this game, I think that the Saints coming off their bye will, I think they've got a couple of players coming back, but I still don't think that they're a great defense. Whether he'll need to pass that much with all of the news that's coming out about all of the Saints players getting COVID, it seems they should maybe just not train for a little bit, just to try and play.
take a few days off.
I mean, it feels to me like at some point they're going to be saying to. I mean, this has got all the hallmarks of a Taysom Hill, blowout game.
Taysom Hill, bloody hell.
Yeah, they're just going to line him out wide and just say, right, let's just do this because literally got no one else to catch the ball other than Alvin Kamara.
He's got to earn his wages somehow on that contract.
Well, yeah, exactly. Sign for big money. You've got to make big plays. So let's move on to running back. Who's your expensive running back this week?
So I have two. Pretty obvious one in Alvin Kamara. 7,900, I believe, on DraftKings. It's the cheapest to see him since week one, and of course, all the news that's come out regarding Thomas and Sanders. It's pretty much a lock in your lineups. I think, regardless of whether you're in a cash or a tournament. Average 30.1 DraftKings points across the season. Obviously last week he had a bit of a disappointing week, but he's in a prime spot to bounce back, especially against this Carolina defense that rushing wise is absolutely shocking, despite them being a bit better the past few weeks. So Kamara's smash play for me, and it should be for you. I'm sure it is for you, Rich.
It will be now. Now I'm getting this top advice. This top advice. Let me just write this down. Kamara, is that spelt with a K? Yeah, okay, got it.
It is, yeah.
I've written that down on the notepad now, so that'll be
in bold as I hope.
That's locked in now. That's locked in. Let's go with your cheaper one as well. No, you said you had a second expensive one. Let's go with that. Who's your second?
So right on the borderline actually, it's Todd Gurley. No, I never thought I'd be recommending Todd Gurley in a DraftKings lineup ever, but trust me, I think he's going to be worth it this week. He's getting around 20 touches a game, which is kind of what you want for your lineups in terms of the two running backs and then the flex, because you need the 60 touches really, especially in tournaments. And we saw Gurley in the game against the Panthers, the last home game, really take it to him and basically beat a poor rush defense. And in Detroit, it's sort of the same story. They're giving up 30.6 DraftKings points to the position. And I'm fully expecting Gurley, or hoping at least, that Lightning's going to strike twice and Gurley's going to have a big game. And he's pretty much my RB2 in most lineups at the moment.
Yeah, the only thing I'm worried about with ever taking Todd Gurley is Brian Hill will inexplicably be used, and that will just make me sad.
I could see that.
That would just make me sad.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I only see him getting a handful of carries of that, and I'm actually quite a big fan of Brian Hill. But I think Gurley's the man, and with the new coach in there now, I think we saw last week how the touches that he did get in the rushing game that's going to carry over for the rest of the season. So I think he's looking good, and especially this week against this defense. Yeah,
I'd agree. My one is Ronald Jones, so I thought you'd definitely be mentioning him. No.
Okay.
Raiders not very good at all against running backs, giving up 34.2 DK points per game. And it seems as though Ronald Jones is, there was all of the off-season narrative that he was the guy. Then they made all of the signings that they made, and then everyone was off of him. And now it seems like he's inexplicably become the guy again. So I'm ready to be hurt, but I think I'll put Ronald Jones in for the time being, and then probably see Leonard Fournette just absolutely dominate this game.
Well, I mean, I happened to be early in the season. I had Ronald Jones in most of my lineups, and then I saw Fournette rush for like 100 plus yards, and it wasn't a good week. No. At least.
My cheap guy is David Johnson.
Yeah, he's on my radar as well.
5,300. For me, it's just at that point, it really hurts to say because I'm a Green Bay fan, but I would just like it if we could just learn to tackle.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be ideal, wouldn't it?
I mean, it seems to me quite fundamental to the game, but it seems like it's up to them, each player, if they want to actually do it or not. So, David Johnson will get all the carries he wants out of this backfield, and I think with the price that he is, you just need him to have volume, which is what he's going to get. I mean, he's going to get receptions, carries, and that should just mean he'll definitely outscore his value. It means by spending down on him, I can spend up on other guys elsewhere. So, do you do your cheap one? I can't remember.
I mean, I haven't. I mean, I have been paying
Go
up this
for it.
week for running backs. Personally, I'm paying up for running backs this week. I just feel it's a paying up a week. But a guy that, you know, maybe you could say is a cheating or whatever. But Gio Bernard at 4,500, it's kind of hard to avoid now. Obviously,
Yeah.
you know, we had the news of Mixon who's out after not practicing all week, and you know, you got to expect Gio to have about 15 to 20 touches. And Cleveland, I know, like defense are really good at stopping the run. So yeah, if you're looking for a cheap guy, perhaps in tournaments, then I'd say Gio Bernard's a good play. But yeah, I said I'm paying up personally for running backs this week, so I probably won't be having Gio Bernard in cash games.
Any Josh Jacobs, or just not feeling that risky?
No, he let me down a few weeks ago, so he needs to redeem himself.
I have him in a couple of redraft leagues, and I'm kind of thinking I might need to even bench him because Tampa are a mean defense, and I don't actually know who's left there to block.
Exactly,
sure.
Yeah.
All of them seem like they've got COVID, it seems.
Maybe they'll put Ruggs and Aguilar in there and just like mix it up.
Maybe. I mean, maybe put some of the defensive linemen in. I mean, they're still big, aren't they?
Just go for it.
Yeah, just sod it. Field goal every single time.
Yeah, get the Raiders kicker in. He'll be smashing it for points this week if you're in season long.
Yeah, I would agree with that, definitely. Okay, so let's move on to wide receiver. Who's your expensive guy that you're paying up for?
Yes, so my main guy is probably Kenny Golladay. You know, it's a boom game waiting to happen essentially in terms of fantasy points. You know, he's averaged 17.1 since coming back into the team for 3 weeks, and he's leading the team in targets, receiving yards, and yards per game. So he's the true alpha there in Detroit. And you know, as we've already mentioned, he's taken on Atlanta, who don't know how to play defense, especially to wide receivers. They're giving up the third most points to wide receivers DraftKings wise, which is at 47.2 per game. And I believe they're giving up about 3 touchdowns a game to wide receivers. So yeah, I think Golladay's going to get at least one of those touchdowns if that trend still stays the same. So yeah, I'm all in on Baby John this week for sure.
Oh, you see, that's interesting because my cheap guy is Marvin Jones.
Oh, interesting.
The reason being that as a Green Bay fan, I can specifically tell you he has all of these quiet games and then he just goes off like an absolute nutter. And I feel as though this is going to be the week to do it, but I can't explain anything else other than
it's just a gut feeling.
It's just a gut feeling that this is the game. This is, you know, this matchup is not good, as you mentioned, and he's only 4,400.
Yeah.
It feels really low. It's the cheapest he's been all season.
I mean, to be honest, there's plenty of room for both to excel in this matchup, in my opinion. But yeah, I'll take the safe pick in Golladay. You can take the risk on Jones.
I think I might have to take the risk on Jones because I think if I don't start taking some of these home run swings, I'm just going to be out of this. And more crucially, I'm going to finish below the Ben, which would just be unacceptable. My expensive guy this week is AJ Brown.
Okay. I don't hate it.
It's more because Pittsburgh defense is really good, but it can be had through the air. Their secondary isn't all that great. So if Ryan Tannehill can just find, you know, a little bit of time and then get the ball to AJ Brown, then I think he could be in for a big game. Equally, I quite like Davis in this game as well. He's significantly cheaper, but again, it's that, you know, do you want to pay up for the alpha, or do you want to take the risk with the secondary receiver? So I personally think AJ Brown will be. I think I saw earlier that he's not carrying an injury designation for this game.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling good about it, and it feels really weird to say I'm relying on Ryan Tannehill to do the business for me, but that's where I am.
No, it makes sense. I mean, Tannehill's had to pass the ball more, right? Because I don't think, although as good as Henry is, I don't think he's going to have the success he did against Houston. So, yeah, it makes sense. He's going to get more, well, hopefully more targets, more volume, and yeah, I don't hate the play at all. It's a decent play.
Okay, I'll put Mark next to him as well. He'll make the lineup.
Yeah. So you got Kamara and Brown are the two, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I submit. Done. Sorted. So who's your cheaper guy for this week?
I really like two, but I'll say the cheaper one. I really like T Higgins this week at 5,300.
Okay, I was tempted with T Higgins because I think, as you said earlier, Burrow's going to have to pass the ball quite often.
Yeah, and I think it's a lovely sacking option actually this week. You know, I think he's seen a quite consistent target share from Burrow since coming into the lineup, and maybe that's been even though the past few weeks it's been the expensive Green. Last week it wasn't. You know, Green almost had 100 yards himself, and then Higgins exceeded 100 yards off 6 targets. I think he had 125 or something like that. And as I mentioned, Cleveland are giving up tons of yards through the air. I believe it's 46.3 points per game to the wide receiver position. I'm pretty sure that's bottom 5 or bottom 6 in the league.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm expecting Higgins to excel in this matchup, and for this price, especially when I'm paying up at running back, I need these sort of mid-range guys that are going to excel in my lineup, and I feel him and my other guy are going to do really well, and that's why he's one of my favourite players of the week.
Tempted with Tyler Boyd, slightly more expensive.
Yeah, it's like $100 difference, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, pretty much the same, really.
Yeah, it's hard to argue for either or. I actually might play both in tournaments, but I think Higgins is just seeing a bit more production with his volume.
I feel as though I don't know if you've heard me use the phrase before, but it's the tikka masala or the madras.
Yeah.
You know, so this is where we are with it. So I think they're both fine plays. I think Tyler Boyd's probably going to be a little bit more meh. He's going to be more tikka masala, but as you know, I love a madras, so I'd stick to Higgins if it's me.
Yeah.
So I'll write that down as well. My lineup's starting to take shape now, Liam. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's looking good. Yeah. Yeah, go on. Say a cheap guy then, and I'll.
Who's your second cheap guy?
Oh, it's Terry McLaurin against the. I think someone refers to him as the fancy carnival in Dallas. You know, McLaurin's previously like a match-proof receiver, pretty much no matter who he goes up against, and you know he's taking on a Cowboys defense that are absolutely shocking. Exhibit A last week against the Cardinals, and you know, similarly to the Browns, the Cowboys are giving up a lot of DraftKings points to the wide receiver position. I think it's 46.8 per game, which is just above Cleveland, but obviously as bad, if not worse. And you know, he's target proof, he's matchup proof from what I've seen, and despite Kyle Allen being at quarterback, I think he's going to do well, and that's why he's my wide receiver 2 most of my lineups.
Nice. So my cheap one was Marvin Jones, but I do have another one, and it's
Okay.
kind of risky because you know.
Okay, so let's hear it.
Deontay Johnson.
Oh yes, I love it. He's in my lineups as well.
4,200. I mean, I'd have a lot more confidence if he finished more games.
Exactly. Yeah.
If he finished games, I'd love it. So that's the issue. I mean, he seems like he's suffering injuries left, right, and centre at the moment. But I think with the price, it's all baked into it, like that risk. And I think particularly if playing in some of those larger tournaments, then I don't think his ownership's going to be too high because I think people be worried about the injury risk.
Yeah, everyone will be on Claypool again as well, so it's a nice pivot. Especially in tournaments.
Everyone loves Claypool at the moment. I'm waiting for him to fail, to be honest.
This could be the week. This could be the week though, couldn't it? Because obviously if Johnson actually gets on the bloody field, this will be the first game where, you know, they've played together, so we don't know what the target share could look like. And Johnson primarily is in the slot anyway. So he kind of sees the target from Big Ben. So yeah, it'll be interesting. It's going to be a good watch. And I think, as you said, for the price, it makes a lot of sense. And that's why he's in my lineups as well. So yeah, I completely agree with you on that.
Okay, cool. I was really hoping you weren't going to, say, don't know what you're about, Rich.
Yeah, terrible play.
That's an awful decision. So now we move on to tight ends. And really, we kind of dropped the cap for tight end. It's more just, are they towards the top or are they towards the bottom of spending? So who's your expensive tight end for this week?
To be honest, I was really struggling just because I like paying down for time typically. For me, I quite like the look of Hawkinson if we count with that as expensive. He's the fourth expensive on the slate in terms of tight ends, and he's going up against Atlanta, who aren't, as Savvy mentioned, aren't a great defense in general. I think they're 28th in terms of ORPK against the tight end position, and giving up 21.1 DraftKings points per game. So yeah, if you want an expensive guy, I think Hawkinson is probably your man, but I'm paying down this week, and I'll get onto those choices later on.
So Hawkinson was mine as well. So
okay,
now that makes me feel a little bit sad, or it makes me happy in a way, because you're a genius, you know what you're talking about, and I'm just trying to play catch up. So I think with that, let's move on to some cheaper options, because there's quite a few on this slate, I think. So
yeah,
do you want to kick off with yours?
I don't know if you consider him cheap, but for me, I've got my first one to Henry, 4,500. It's a bit cheaper than Hawkinson, and there's like a whole mid-tier price bracket with tight ends, and Henry's just too cheap. He's been getting a consistent target share from the transition from Taylor to Herbert. He's getting about 7-8 targets a game, and with week 4 against the Tampa being the anomaly, he's been averaging around 11 DraftKings points a game, which for the money you're spending on is actually a pretty good return, and it's quite consistent. And taking on Jacksonville this week, who given up about 15.4 DraftKings points to the position, and Henry has been getting red zone targets, so is that a chance of the upside of potentially breaking that 20-point barrier game. So yeah, consistent target share, and I like him a lot this week.
I quite like the way that you say around about 15.4, like not around 15, around 15.4 / exactly 15.4. I've quite enjoyed that.
When you know, you know.
When you know, that's the thing. Okay, so mine is Dalton Schultz from
That's my other
Cowboys.
one. Yeah,
3,900. It's difficult to not, because Washington are surprisingly good against wide receivers. The way you can beat them is through tight end, and you've got Andy Dalton's just kind of walked in there, and he's not really happy with the offense. He's not got it. He's not grasped it yet.
Yeah. He's not that basically.
Yeah, I know, ridiculously small sample size. But yeah, Washington are giving up 17.3 DraftKings points to the position. I feel as though a lot of people might be on Schultz because it's the Cowboys and they get a lot of media attention. But yeah, he's one of my favourite.
I don't know. I reckon it'll be a nice pivot. I reckon people will watch Dalton last week. Pretty much the whole offense was terrible, and they might go away from him and maybe target like a Henry or a maybe like Ebron or something. But yeah, I reckon you'd be surprised.
Maybe Ebron just makes me sad every time. I just this week is Eric Ebron week. I'm like, no, it's not. It makes me sad. In the same game, I'm ready to be hurt again by Logan Thomas.
Oh, no.
The thing is, I don't want to do it, but I feel like I have to. He's like that. He's like, when you go on a big night out and you've had that drink and it's made you really awful, and then every now and again you just shoulder another one of those, and then to get to a point when you're ready to do that again. That's kind of where I am.
That's where we're at. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's hurt me too much. I don't think I can play him personally. I tipped him up twice on the articles, and no.
3,500 though.
I know, but he literally takes you $400 to Schultz. Like, I'm sure you can find $400 somewhere, Rich.
Yeah, maybe. Hopefully I can, but
if you're playing Deontay Johnson, I'm sure you can.
That's true. That is true. There's in no lineup am I going to have Johnson and Thomas, because that's basically just asking to get kicked, really.
Yeah, definitely.
So, do you have any other cheap options that you like in this slate?
No, literally, mine were Henry and Schultz, so you've covered them both.
Okay, cool. So now we move on to DST. Now, shall I just talk for the both of us on the expensive option, which is just target the New York Jets?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I mean, in the most positive sense, they'll have Sam Darnold under center. That's the best thing that can happen for them with an injured shoulder. And if not, they have Joe Flacco.
Oh.
Both of these options is terrible.
Yeah, I mean, you put it pretty perfectly, haven't you? So, yeah, I mean, if you can find the money to play the Bills, then, shoot away.
That's what he spent. That's what he spent down on Logan Thomas. So
to get them in, yeah. Well, maybe that's the meta play this week. Yeah, maybe you got it nailed on the head.
That's it. Maybe I have finally. I think the Jets have scored the least amount of points in the entire NFL, I believe. Yeah, 75 points.
I mean, if they can't score against the Dolphins defense, with all due respect to the mighty Dolphins, that's a bad sign.
I mean, we could talk about the Jets for ages because I feel as though Trevor Lawrence is got to be thinking, should I?
Yeah, he's already on the phone to his agent.
Yeah, just going, should we just bin it off for another season?
Just go on holiday for a year. Why not?
Yeah, he's just going COVID. He's going in New Orleans. He's just like, man, I just want COVID. Just get me out of this. This is unbelievable. Okay, so is there another expensive defense that you like this week?
No, I don't see. Unless you're playing the Bills, I wouldn't play any expensive defense personally.
I'd agree. So who are your cheaper ones? I feel like there's quite a few.
I say at the start of the season, I was all for paying up for him. Like I was on the Steelers quite a bit. But yeah, my first one for this week's Washington. 2,500. They've proven they can get big sack numbers against before, and they've actually been creating turnovers, passing games through interceptions. I think I've got written down 4 in the last 3 games, so that's actually quite good, actually. And the host in Dallas offense that didn't look great against Arizona made them look pretty good, and Dalton actually got sacked 3 times. So if they can continue that against, I forgot Washington are playing. That's really bad, isn't it? I should know Washington are playing. Isn't it?
You should know. We mentioned it. Cowboys.
I should know. Cowboys, of course, yes.
Cowboys.
Yes, exactly. Dalton getting sacked 3 times and 2 interceptions against Arizona. So every chance that happens again. And at 2,500, good play, in my opinion, good value.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those where I feel like it will go one of 2 ways. You'll either look like an absolute genius, or Andy Dalton will click with the Dallas offense, and you'll just look like an idiot. And there's nothing in between. I feel it's just genius or idiot. That's how it's going to be.
Well, I think at 2,500, it's the perfect time to be a genius or be an idiot, because you either reap the rewards or just get 0 points and feel sorry for yourself.
Yeah, that's true. Getting attacked by a dog there.
I think it's my dog barking. Yeah.
Wow. Well, maybe that is I'm going to use that as a tenuous link. So mine is the Cleveland Browns and the dog pound. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, I got your dog to bark. That's all. That's part of the professional production that we put together. 2,800. The reason being that Myles Garrett is, I don't want to say like beastly, but he's pretty close to it. It's more just I'm hoping that they get to the quarterback a couple of times and put Joe Burrow under pressure, and that can mean that we see him take some sacks or see him fumble the ball, or even ideally throw an interception maybe. I don't think 2,800 it's not particularly expensive. It's slightly more expensive than Washington football team, but I don't think it's bad. I mean, they're cheaper than Dallas Cowboys, which seems odd to me.
Strange.
Dallas are not good at all. Although they activated Vander I never know how to say his name.
Van
Der Esch, from IR.
Yeah.
So I think he's a big part of what they do on defense.
Yeah, and I suppose the nice thing with that Browns Bengals game is you got a sample from earlier in the season, so you can kind of get a gauge of what potentially might happen. A really different venue completely, but it's nice to have that.
You tempted by any others? Tampa Bay kind of springs out to me at the moment because honestly, just because of how many offensive linemen in that Raiders team, I'm not sure how many of them will be able to play.
Yeah,
I don't think I've had any more positive tests today. I think I saw, but they're 3,700, so they're
that's a lot.
That upper mid tier. I think one issue could be the ownership on them because they might be slightly more expensive, but I think some people think that it's a smaller pivot to make from the Bills. And we just saw what Tampa Bay did to Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I didn't. I turned it off. I just couldn't take it anymore.
I was watching Miami personally, so I didn't see any of it. So, in my eyes, he played a perfect game.
Yeah, if you just watch the opening couple of drives, that's all you need, really. Don't look at the final score. It's just the first couple of drives. Okay, so there are expensive and cheap plays this week. So this is kind of where I kind of like it. Is the stacks. So you bring to me some of your stacks that you're targeting to add this week.
Okay, so my more expensive one is going to be Kyler Murray, as we've already mentioned, and then stack him up with his wide receiver one in DeAndre Hopkins at 8,200, I believe.
Not say wide receiver one, not Christian Kirk.
Oh no! Funnily enough, his free targets. Yeah. It's funny. His free targets last week didn't entice me to start this week.
No. Okay. Well, each their own. Each their own. He was uber efficient with those targets. So.
He was there. I can't lie. So yes.
And who's your cheapest stack?
So I mentioned both already. It's Burrow and Higgins, about like almost 111,000, which is ridiculously cheap for a matchup they're in. So yeah.
Both of my stacks are Stafford and someone. So it's either Hawkinson or Golladay. They're the stacks that I quite like to just put in, and I'm kind of happy with that. Which seems a bit weird because I just say Marvin Jones is going to have that breakout game, but unless you really want to go absolutely balls to the wall, I just can't bring myself to do it. Like I scroll to him, he's right there, and my thumb sits over the plus button. I just can't do it, unfortunately. So
I'd say go with your gut, Rich, and play him.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it. Why not? You got nothing to lose. You got nothing to lose.
I have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Exactly.
So I might do that. I might go absolutely.
You know what? Just go Stafford, Golladay, Hawkinson, and Jones. Just go for it.
Yeah, and then watch Detroit put up as a goose egg. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so do you have any other stacks that you particularly like, or should we move on to your player of the week?
No, let's move on to player of the week.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I feel like player of the week needs to be more epic, Jamie. Just to let you know, if you're watching this, Jamie, which I'm sure you are. I mean, I think we need to have like a play of the week. There we go. That's it. That's the drop. So who's your player of the week?
My play of the week. I'm going to go back to Higgins. I say he's one of my favourite plays, and I just feel he's going to absolutely smash this Cleveland secondary. And for the price that he is, he's beautiful in cash, beautiful in tournaments. And yeah, I can't see anything wrong with him. He's definitely my player of the week. He's in all my lineups at the moment. My
player of the week is it has got gambled because I really like Ronald Jones this week. I think
I don't hate it.
Tampa will get out to a good lead. I think Derek Carr looks serviceable when he has protection, but I don't know how much protection he's going to have against Tampa with question marks over his offensive line. So I think I'm going to go Ronald Jones. That's my player of the week. That's my player of the week. So no doubt that's just awful advice. Don't select Ronald Jones at all. But there we go.
Yeah, I will admit I haven't seen many people on Ronald Jones, but I like your take on it. No, it's not. I don't hate it at all.
Well, there we go. Heard it here first. If him and Marvin Jones blow up, Jones in.
You're in for a good week.
I'll change all of my team names to Jonesing. Right, so that brings us up to the lineups for our contest. Now, again, I didn't have a very good week in this contest last week against Jamie. He scored 125 points and I scored 98.2. And I said I wasn't going to mention that, so we're just going to move on from it and just talk about this week. So, because Jamie isn't here, he still entered he still entered the lineup which he sent me. So what we'll do is we'll run through ours and then we'll rip his apart. Does that sound good?
Sounds beautiful.
Okay, cool. So he's gone for at quarterback. He's got Kyle Allen. So that's brave.
That's a good start.
Running backs are Justin Jackson and Ronald Jones.
Okay, nice.
Wide receivers, he's gone Julio, Terry McLaurin and Brandon Cooks. Tight end, he's ready to be hurt with Eric Ebron. And then he's gone for Alvin Kamara at running back and the Tampa Bay Bucks.
Okay. I mean, Justin Jackson carrying injuries, interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to feel about that, to be honest. But
I mean, he's gone bald, that's for sure.
He has gone balls out, full ball. Do you want? I'll do mine, and then you can run us through the winning lineup at the end. So mine is Matthew Stafford at quarterback. Then I've gone boring at running back, so I've gone Giovanni Bernard, which I hate myself for doing it, but I feel like I have to. Then I've got Ronald Jones at running back, obviously, as my play of the week.
Play of the week.
Then my wide receiver core are Robbie Anderson, AJ Brown, and Julio Jones. Tight end is Schultz.
Okay, back on Julio, interesting.
He carries no injury designation now. And he's cheaper than Calvin Ridley. So that's where I've been with him. He's cheaper than Ridley, doesn't carry an injury designation. So I feel like I have to be in on him. And then in my flex, I've gone balls out. Marvin Jones Jr. Love it. Let's go.
You're playing him.
Let's go. And my defense is the Bills because
why not?
Flacco.
Yeah. Flacco, Darnold, any of them. Okay. Go through my lineup.
Let's go through the winning lineup for this week.
Okie dokie. So quarterback, I've got Joe Burrow. Running backs, Kareem Hunt, Alvin Kamara. Wide receivers, did one of my stacks of the week with T. Higgins, Chase Claypool, and then Terry McLaurin.
Yep.
Tight end Hunter Henry, flex Todd Gurley, defense Washington.
That's nice. I quite like some of that.
I'm a bit nervous about Claypool, but I want to have some coverage of Claypool in case he blows up again. And I don't, because I've got Johnson everywhere pretty much.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yeah.
I was surprised Jamie didn't have Johnson because he loves him.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He clearly just didn't quite have that at the end. So
it's
actually quite interesting because he probably has been. It's just more interesting than it is normally because I think last week when me and Jamie did this, we had very similar lineups. I think we literally had 3 players that were different. So it seems like we've kind of gone for a mix of players. So
this will be interesting.
This will be a fun week, I think. Cool. Well,
right.
That brings us to the end of this show. Thank you very much for your time.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
Happy birthday. I'm sure.
Thank you.
Everyone will wish you a happy birthday. Hope your Miami Dolphins win. And, well, no, not playing this week. But
they can't lose, so
that's positive thinking. That is positive thinking.
Exactly. They can't lose, so that's the best thing that can happen.
That's it. You can watch Red Zone and then just be like, not bothered. I don't mind. Just sit back, and enjoy the fantasy points rolling.
Definitely.
Well, thank you very much for your time, and I'll let you crack on with the rest of your night and your socially distanced birthday.
Yeah, it's it's been all right so far. So yeah, and cheers for having me on again. And if you want me to come back on, I'll happily come back on.
Well, I reckon at some point Jamie will say, "Rich, you have no idea what you're talking about. We'll get Liam back on." Yeah, so I'm sure that'll happen anytime soon.
Sounds good.
Right, well, thank you very much for listening, and we'll check you out next week.